how has COVID-19 affected the leasing market? How has COVID-19 affected the sales market? Because we know a lot of you are investors. And so you're looking and saying, all right, what's going to be happening with my vacant unit, and what's going to be happening with, if I'm looking to make a purchase, is now a good time? Should I hold off? These are great questions, and I wanted to address those briefly, not spend too much time. If you want to talk about your individual portfolio, we would recommend just setting up a time with Steve or myself, and we can do a Zoom meeting. We can do a call to talk through what your overall goals are, what your risk level is that you're anticipating and that you'd like to have, and we can talk about your situation. But a few things just to note in general are we are looking for all sorts of creative solutions to limiting our vacancy. The number one thing that we have seen happen since COVID-19 went into effect is the number of physical showings has gone down. And that's on the sales side as well as on the rental side. So the number of people out looking physically has gone down. For that reason, we have been trying to get the best photo tours available for our properties, but then we've also been adding different alternatives for people. And so I wanted to talk with you about some of those alternatives. We, on vacant properties as they come up, we have been doing FaceTime showings, where I did one on Saturday where I was talking to a couple from New York, and I was walking them through the property via FaceTime. We can look at FaceTime, Zoom. We can also do videos of walking through the property and send those to an interested party that may not feel comfortable going to a physical showing. So we've made as many virtual options available as possible. Then we've also added, and this is not on all of our vacant listings yet, but we are going to be adding this to a high percentage of our portfolio, the ability for a tenant or a prospective tenant to do a self-show. And what the self-show means is that the tenant or prospective renter would have to go through a little bit of a screening process. They'd have to provide a driver's license, some other information to our showing third-party company called Show Mojo, and then we can approve someone to go through a property on their own. And we've been doing tests of this for the last 6 months, and it's decreased vacancy for owners. A number of companies within our area have been utilizing them. So we are still going to have an in-person option available for people, but we are going to be increasing the amount of availability for our properties by adding this self-show option. There's going to be more details coming on that as we have them, but it's a great alternative for us. The other thing to note, as we are looking at your pricing and as as you're looking, if your property does come vacant or if it's currently vacant, there are 5 things that affect your ability to rent this property at the best rate and the fastest. First is your price. Second is the timing in the market. Third is the external conditions that may be in place. Fourth is the overall property condition. And then fifth is your terms or flexibility. And I want to outline a couple of things with each of those. As much as we would love to be highly aggressive with price, this is really not the season or time to be trying to push your rent to something that is above market value. And what we're seeing is that market value has become a bit more fluid since all of this went into play. Owners are looking to try to fill units, and so they have been lowering rent $50 to $100 or keeping rent the same rather than raising rent. Next, the timing in the market. We are still seeing a lot of online traffic, and we've actually just finalized negotiation on a contract with advertising to some new marketing firms as well to help increase traffic. So we syndicate on about 60 different websites through our advertising, and we're still getting very, very standard traffic at this time of year compared to what we've seen last year and the year before. So the online traffic is still there, but we are looking at additional websites as well as social media to connect our listings on, because a lot more people are on Instagram and Facebook during COVID. So we've agreed to a 6-month contract with a company that is going to help us maximize additional ways to find tenants through social media and other means. The external conditions, they are what they are. You know, we are working with the external conditions of COVID to try to help any way that we can. The property condition is critical. And so we have a wonderful inspections manager named Natalie who works with all of our move-ins, move-outs, and you may be wondering, if we're looking to do an inspection in the next month, do we have to just hold, or are there any options available? And there are some options that are available, or an option that we've been exploring with a third-party inspection company. So I'd like to see, Natalie, are you on the line?
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. I'll turn it over to you for a few minutes.
Okay, so as far as the periodics go, I wanted to find a way to keep them going. I think that it keeps the tenants accountable for the property, as well as us knowing what the condition of the property is in. We've been looking at this third-party inspection program that we use, and it allows us to send a inspection through the mobily, and they can take pictures of all aspects of the house. So it outlines exactly what they take pictures of: the inside of the fridge, the filter, the smoke detectors, things like that. We need to make sure that those things are still in place. And while we're not able to walk through it because of the directives, at least we know that the property is being cared for and that they're being accountable for those things during this time. I know that Brad had talked about offering some kind of an incentive. We haven't discussed how we're going to do that, but we want to offer incentive to the tenants to make sure that they're doing that, and that they're driven to do that because they're at home all the time right now. I mean, it's a really great option, honestly. I've tested it in my own house, and I think that it really covers a lot of the things that, while it's always best to actually walk through the property because the tenants will be leading this, it does ask them to take pictures of everything, and there will be incentive for them to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie. And Natalie has been with us about a year now, and she is such a huge asset to our company. She owned a cleaning company prior to this, and she is one of the most organized and detailed people that I've ever met. And it's such a blessing to have her as part of our team. But as much as we would love to have Natalie go through all of our properties right now, because of the directive, it's not physically possible. But this is the next best alternative that we have to try to help make sure that the condition of the property is still as good as possible. And the incentive that we're looking at providing to the tenant, because you may be wondering, well, if I'm a tenant, why would I spend 15 or 20 minutes taking pictures of all this stuff, even if I'm going to get flagged, of maybe something that I need to repair or clean up. And the incentive that we're looking to provide is a gift card for them to get a meal or two taken care of from a takeout restaurant through Grubhub or DoorDash. So we recognize this is a sacrifice for them. Most of them are home, so they have the time, but we do want to provide an incentive to them to be able to help us with this matter. So we'll keep you all posted on that, but we are looking to